Hello and welcome everyone to the After LP review slash thoughts thing. I'm MinotaurZombie and I'm joined by
Chimera Brains.
And we're just going to kind of talk about our quick thoughts on Seiken Densetsu 3, or if you guys don't know, some people like to refer to it as Secret of Mana 2, since it was the sequel to Secret of Mana, the third in the series, and it wasn't actually released here in the West, only in Japan. So, I mean, obviously, if you guys don't know what Secret of Mana is, quick overview, it's kind of like an action RPG, very more RPG probably than some action RPGs, very stat-based, level-ups, story, that kind of stuff. And the thing that kind of makes it special is its multiplayer for the Super Nintendo. And as most people know, Secret of Mana was 3 players. However, Seiken Densetsu 3, only 2 players for some reason, despite still having that third character. Really kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is probably my #1 favorite thing about the Secret of Mana series, is by far having an RPG where you get to play with a friend or even 2 friends like that. So
yeah, definitely. And I hear, and I don't know how well it works, I hear there's a 3-player patch for the game that you can use. Can't comment on how well it works. I think I heard somewhere that the reason they decided to go 2 players for Seiken Densetsu 3 is because 3 players was causing them bugs, and that's one of the problems with Seiken Densetsu 3 is there's a lot of bugs. The agility stat literally does nothing. Critical hits are bugged. We never saw a single critical hit. Apparently they can happen, but it's ungodly rare. There's a lot of bugs. And just so you guys know, we were playing a fan-translated game, which was actually pretty good translation, I thought. I didn't really see many errors.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I had no problems with the translation at all as far as, like, understanding what the characters were saying or what was going on. I was actually pretty impressed.
Definitely. And if you guys have seen, it's much like the first Secret of Mana. The graphics, the sprites, and the music is just awesome for this game. Definitely one of my favorite parts about it. I'll be playing kind of our favorite music tracks, like our first review, throughout this review here, just because I like them so much. And the thing, probably the biggest change from the Secret of Mana to Seiken Densetsu 3. I know I'm making a lot of comparisons, but it's one of those things, like, most people that play this game are looking for another Secret of Mana experience. The action is just, like, so much more fast-paced in this game, and I really liked it for that. Gone is the wait till 100% bar. You can only attack so often. Like, your character kind of gets tired and you gotta wait a little bit before attacking again, but it's not like the 100% thing. You can kind of just go crazy sometimes, and you don't have to, like, do that thing where you take turns on the enemy. You can just all wail on them at the same time. They reworked, like, charging your weapon. You no longer have weapon or magic levels, which I really like, because those, it's like, just felt like such a grind to grind that out.
Yeah.
In place of that, you have text. As you hit enemies, your bar fills up at the bottom, and then you kind of unleash, like, a super attack and you do big damage.
That system I like a lot better, because when you upgraded your weapon in the earlier one, you would charge it up. You'd have to charge up to like 700% after a while or whatever. And
it just took forever, and you could like barely move while you were doing it.
And you can still, they still kind of have something similar to that in Seiken Densetsu 3, where when you upgrade your character and do the class change, stuff like that, you have different levels that you can go to. Your bar will fill up so far, then you can say, okay, we're just going to cash it in now. But it's a cool system, but I mean, for the most part, you're just going to still charge it up to max and then unload.
Definitely, and you brought it up, like, one of the cool parts of this game is the class changes. You essentially have, like, start out at a base class, and then once you hit a certain level, you can class change into one of 2 paths, and then from that path, there's 2 more paths, or like 2 more options after that, making for like a total of 6 classes, 7 if you count your starting class. And all the classes have their own abilities. You learn things to level up in this game, and they all have their own abilities, spells that you'll learn. And the name of this game is definitely super replayable, because when you first hit New Game, it's going to say choose your characters, and you'll have 6 options. There's cleric, there's like healer, thief, warrior, mage. There's Kevin, which is just beast man. He punches shit.
And who was the last one?
Who was the last one?
Did we have the Amazon in there?
I thought she might have been mage. Maybe Amazon. But anyway,
they have a mage and an Amazon, yeah.
There's 6 characters to choose from, and you can only choose 3. And the way the game works is you start out, and the first character you pick is kind of like the main character of the game. That's kind of whose story you'll be following. And then the other 2 characters will be the characters that join you. And the really cool part about this game is everyone kind of has their own unique intros, their own reasons for going on the quest. And it kind of just invites this replayability where you go back just to see different routes. And I looked at some walkthroughs after we beat the game, and some things actually, like bosses you face, I think places you go, how certain things evolve. A lot of it depends on who you pick as your starting character, and I think the game can change pretty dramatically. So it kind of invites that replayability. That, coupled with all the different class changes for each character, it's crazy. It's not a super long game. I think we clocked in at 14, 15 hours maybe. I mean,
I think so.
We went through it pretty fast. I mean, we weren't like speed running it or anything, but it's not a super long game. It's definitely a game that begs to be replayed.
As far as playtime's concerned, it does a pretty good job of giving you a few number of options. What we did was we went through at a fairly normal pace, not taking very much time to level up. We would defeat enemies on the way, but for the most part, we felt under level towards the end of the game.
We felt incredibly under level because the random enemies are like, it's like level 50 slime blob, and we're like level 40.
I'm actually turning this into a compliment though, because you can either play the game like that and create a challenge, or if you're one of those people that really like to grind up levels and make your character stronger, that's an option too.
Definitely. And they brought back the ring system. If you guys aren't aware of what the ring system is, if you played Secret of Mana, you know, but it's kind of their way, like, menu system. Because you're playing multiplayer, no one wants to, it's like, oh, let me just fiddle with my stuff here. Instead, they came up with this ring system where you kind of just open up a menu and everything's kind of right there, and it kind of made the game a little bit more free-flowing for a multiplayer experience. That comes back in some regards. For selecting items and spells, you use the ring system. But then something I really liked is they brought, for like equipping items and things, they brought in like an actual like menu where you could just easily equip things as opposed to like keep spinning the ring around until you get to the things you want to equip. It made it a lot easier in some regards.
Yeah.
Selling items definitely became more of a chore though, because it's like certain characters can only hold certain items, but overall, the menu, it's a nice balance between ring and menu, for sure. The spell animations, I mean, when you're doing spells, those still take a while. Like, going through the game as a mage, a lot of time would probably be spent kind of staring at, you know, the same magic animation over and over again while you spammed at the bosses. But I think that's also one of the biggest things that shined in this game compared to the first Secret of Mana, because by the end of the first Secret of Mana, it was like, find boss's weakness, spam magic until die. And this game, physical attacks are actually like an actual good thing to use, as opposed to just spam magic.
Oh yeah.
Overall, the gameplay I felt was like just so much better than Secret of Mana. Not gonna do any spoilers on the story, but the story was alright. It was probably about as good as Secret of Mana's. I mean, the most interesting parts were definitely the characters' reasons for being there and kind of their reason for the journey, but everything else that kind of happens on the quest, it's kind of a collect all the MacGuffins quest at some points, and it's very standard RPG in some
basic,
regards.
But that could also, depending on what you are looking for in a game, that could also be what you like.
Definitely.
Oh, one other quick thing I just thought of now, and I think this would be something more you would bring up since you were more of the navigator, but the map. Oh dear. God. I'll let you.
It was like godsend compared to the first Secret of Mana. Now, if you guys if any of you have watched our first Secret of Mana LP, our map was kind of glitched. It didn't work out very well. But the thing is, I think even if our map had worked well, it still wouldn't have worked. Like, we still wouldn't have been able to know where we were going. But in Seiken Densetsu 3, oh my god, they put a red dot where you're supposed to, like, kind of the areas where you should sort of head to next, kind of the general area, and that helped so much less time being lost and just getting back on track.
Especially since, no spoilers, but one of the sections later in the game is essentially you can tackle the challenges ahead of you in any order you would like.
Definitely, I think that was a really cool part.
And it really helps for keeping track of which ones you've completed and which ones you still have to accomplish.
Definitely. So that was a huge step up. The bosses, there was a lot of cool bosses. Overall, the game just felt really good, really satisfying. The combat never really got old, I would say. Because you were always getting new things, new abilities, and the environments were always really varied. You never felt like you were doing the same thing. I mean, there's like obligatory like cave and forest, but then like when you get into like the ice areas, like kind of like the cold areas, like it was a nice change up, nice change of pace. There's just so many good things about the game. And it's hard to find bad things to say. I would say one of the problems, it was on the tip of my tongue and now it's gone. What about you? You haven't said much at all.
Okay, one thing I was actually going to bring up next was, I mean, for the most part, there's really not much for me to say. I think you've pretty much summarized most of it. The only minor difference would be from my perspective, which was as the second player. So the way I interacted with the game was a little bit more on the action side. I followed you around while you kind of did like the items menus, traveling, and figuring out where to go next. So a lot of my focus was a little bit more on the action side of things. So basically what I'm getting at was, if you're going to play this game and someone's going to be like the player 2, I think this is a fun player 2 game.
I think so too, and I think the thing about these games is I can't say too much for playing single player, but I think these games lose a lot of their luster if you play them single player. I'm not saying they'd be bad if you play them single player, but the Secret of Mana and then Seiken Densetsu 3 to me is like, they really do truly shine when you play them multiplayer.
Oh, without a doubt. In recent times, I've really been enjoying like 2 or more player RPGs. I mean, no doubt about it, I'm actually looking forward to doing my own run-through of this game sometime in the future, and I even kind of have my party picked out of who I'm gonna go through with. Experience the game from Minotaur's perspective, but also experience it with like the different characters and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely has replay value, and I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. But one of the things I felt that they kind of just dropped partway through is some of the, I guess, I wouldn't say puzzle-ish elements, but towards the beginning of the game, you'll like come across areas where it'll be like, oh no, we cannot proceed, what should we do? And you have to use like a certain item or one of the spirits you've got and kind of think of that. I noticed they just kind of dropped that towards the end of the game. Right around the halfway mark, you just never have to deal with that again, and that was kind of weird to me. I mean, it wasn't a huge thing, but it kind of took the place of what Secret of Mana 1 did with the various uses for the weapons. Like, you'd have to use the whip to get across places. They did away with that. As far as, I mean, it's inevitably going to be brought up, like, which one do you like more, Secret of Mana or Seiken Densetsu 3? I'd have to say Seiken Densetsu 3. It just feels more polished. And, you know, I think funnily enough, I think the fan translation was probably more well done than the official translation of Secret of Mana.
I think you're probably a little right with that.
And the action is just so much better, and it's, as a multiplayer game, it feels better to be able to attack at the same time. And I've heard some people say it's less strategic, but I think I like Seiken Densetsu 3 more. But yeah, I think that about wraps up our thoughts. Do you have anything else to add, or?
Just one really quick, just to kind of I can't really comment on playing through either one. Just doing the comparison between Secret of Mana and Seiken Densetsu 3. Really briefly, as a single player, I won't comment. If you're playing with one friend, I'd say Seiken Densetsu 3. But if for somehow or some strange reason you still get 3 friends in a room, I would still go back to the original Secret of Mana.
Oh, definitely.
You may as well. If you have the option in the multi-tap or the way to do it, and you have 3 people, I would still go visit the... To me, that's probably the biggest appeal of Secret of Mana, is the 3-player aspect of it.
Definitely.
Otherwise, if it's one friend, I would probably give Seiken Densetsu 3 a chance.
It's one of those weird things that they took away that third player in Seiken Densetsu 3. And Seiken Densetsu 3 really does have its bugs. I would say only 2-player and the bugs are probably the biggest weaknesses of Seiken Densetsu 3. If you can get past those, you're definitely in for a really good time. It's probably become one of my favorite action RPGs after completing it. But yeah, I probably should have said this in the beginning. If you're looking for a score, I don't give out scores. I think they're stupid. So you actually have to listen to my things. If you just skipped this part too long, didn't hear, well, no, go back and hear. So thanks for listening, guys. If you watched the LP, thank you so much for watching. It was great to have you guys along for the ride. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. What you think of Seiken Densetsu 3? As for this, I'm MinotaurZombie.
And this is Chimera Brains. Thanks for listening.
Alright, see you guys later.